I tried the new Chilipad 2.0 for 30 nights to see if it could actually improve my sleep. And I'll tell you my biggest takeaways right up front. Yes, it stopped my girlfriend and me from waking up sweating or fighting over the thermostat. No, it's not perfect. It's still got a few frustrating limitations. And most importantly, I actually think people are buying Chilipad for the wrong reason. Because the biggest benefit I noticed from it goes way deeper than the cooling features alone, and not one other Chilipad review is talking about it. Now, I'll tell you why I chose this bed cooling system over competitors like Sleepme and BedJet in just a minute. But first, I know you didn't click this video just because I'm cute, so I promise by the end of it, you will know whether or not the Chilipad 2.0 is a good fit for you personally. Whether you're a hot sleeper like my girlfriend who rolls around like a sweaty 7-Eleven hot dog all night, or if you're the opposite, a poor circulation king who wants to crank the temperature up at night. And if you and your partner are on the brink of divorce because you like sleeping at different temperatures, we'll talk about the pros and cons of the dual zone features as well. Personally, I was just trying to sleep better and maintain a healthier circadian rhythm, and I wound up really loving one expected feature that has my sleep score much higher than usual, and I'll show you that feature and how to get the most out of it later on. For now, the reason I chose to get Sleepme's Chilipad 2.0 versus competitor options is simple. So after 20 hours of product research, this was the current best option I found that does not require a subscription. There are cheaper options like BedJet, but almost everyone agrees that those air-based bed cooling systems are a lot less effective at cooling the bed than the water-based bed cooling systems. And Chilipad definitely isn't cheap, but it's still a lot more affordable than Sleep, which also requires a subscription. And honestly, I have nothing against them, but something about having to pay a subscription to sleep just doesn't sit quite right with me. It feels pretty dystopian, to be honest. So when I saw the Chilipad actually gets better reviews on Trustpilot from way more customers anyway, I pulled the trigger. But speaking of price, now's a good time to mention, for every review I do, whether I like the product or not, I always drop an affiliate link down in the description below that will auto-update with the best current deal possible, and using it may help support the channel at no extra cost to you, which I always appreciate. But don't whip out your credit card just yet, because Chilipad definitely isn't for everyone, and we've still got a lot to cover. I ordered the 2-sleeper option, which comes with pretty much 2 of everything minus the Chilipad cover itself. So I got 2 Chilipad docks with 12 months worth of system cleaner, 2 hydro layers, 2 water hoses, 2 remotes, 1 for each side of the bed, and of course, the 1 Chilipad cover. Now, if you're on a budget, you can always buy the 1-sleeper option, which covers half the bed, but you know your partner better than I do, so just, consider whether or not they'd be pissed at you for that. Setup was pretty straightforward, and I did film the whole thing, but honestly, it was pretty boring, and I respect your time, so I'd rather just breeze through it and get to the good stuff. But if you need any help or have questions about the setup process, just let me know in the comments. I always make an effort to respond to every single person who is actively subscribed to the channel. But the short version of the setup story is you've got this Chilipad cover, which is actually really nice. It's very soft and cool to the touch. And this cover is going to go over your mattress like a mattress protector. This is so that if the hydro layer ever sprung a leak or anything like that from someone getting a little too freaky on it, at least your mattress would be safe from stains. And we will come back to that topic and discuss durability in just a bit. But the hydro layers have these sort of zigzagging ridges all over them. Obviously, the hot or cold water is going to run through these to disperse the temperature evenly throughout the bed cover, and the hydro layers are going to slip inside the bed cover through a long zipper on each side. Super easy. Although I did find it a bit annoying getting the hydro layers positioned just right. There are 4 straps per hydro layer that attach and tighten to the cover so they don't move around or bunch up at night. They do get the job done, but I couldn't get them quite as tight to the bed as I'd prefer. Then each side of the bed gets 1 water hose, which attaches to the hydro layer on one end and to the Chilipad pod on the other end, which is going to allow water to run through the whole system. And I was a little nervous about this part in case of water leaks, but the attachment points actually feel really high quality. They just kind of click into place nicely, and I haven't had a single issue with them so far. But if that changes in the future, you know damn well I will update you down in the description below. And speaking of water, you will need about 2 gallons of distilled water to get started. Now, I'm not an instruction manual guy, so I had no idea about this. I just got lucky and literally had 2 chugs under my bed already because I'm a low-key doomsday prepper apparently. But it is very important that you use distilled water and not tap water to prevent any crusty mineral buildup over time, like the shit you probably have in your shower head right now. And you'll need to refill these tanks every couple of weeks. I find it's like usually somewhere between 2 to 3 weeks for me based on my use. And on top of refilling them, you're gonna have to pour in some system cleaner once per month. Then you can turn on the Chilipad 2.0 pods and watch them get to work. And actually, maybe I'm just dumb, but for like the first 15 minutes or so, I genuinely thought we might be dealing with a product here because both of my Chilipad pods kept randomly turning on and off. So just check that the power plugs are actually all the way plugged into the pods. Both of mine felt like they were, but I realized they actually push in a little bit deeper to be fully connected. So my bad. But the Chilipad 2.0 pods are actually smaller and quieter than the original pods on the Chilipad 1.0. The 1.0 was kind of noisy, like a small dishwasher, but I would say that the 2.0 is very quiet. I would equate it to being like a white noise machine with low self-esteem. It is basically a whisper quiet machine. I really don't think anybody's going to complain about the sound on this. The actual downside is that these new pods do take a bit longer to cool or heat the bed than the previous Chilipad 1.0 model did. So that's definitely a trade-off, but honestly, I would still definitely choose the 2.0 over the 1.0 because it doesn't really make sense to manually turn the device on and off each day anyway, in my opinion, since you can just program in a schedule to have the bed heat up or cool down around your desired bedtime and wake up time every day, which is a way more important feature than people realize. Not just for convenience, but for your health and mental well-being, because sleep hygiene and consistency are some of the absolute most important factors contributing to overall health and well-being. So if you don't already have a regular sleep schedule, you definitely should, or you are literally shaving years off your life and probably aging like shit. And I have spent countless hours testing different mattresses, pillows, and sleep tech on this channel, so if finding new tech that improves your life is interesting to you, hit subscribe. Because while Chilipad definitely isn't perfect, some of its features have helped me a lot with improving and maintaining my circadian rhythm over the past month that I've been using it. In fact, I'll show you exactly how I'm using mine to get those benefits in just a minute, and it's way cooler than it sounds, I promise. Now, there are actually 3 ways to control your Chilipad 2.0. You've got the pods themselves, the remotes, or the app. If you want to keep it old school, you can manually control the temperature of each hydro layer just by pushing the buttons on the pods themselves. However, I find the interface on the pods to be a little bit clunky compared to the other 2 options, so I usually use the remote control or the Chilipad app on my phone. I find the remote great for when my girlfriend sleeps over. She has her remote on her side of the bed and I have mine, and if either of us wake up feeling too hot or too cold, we can just turn the dial to adjust, and it's super easy. The remote also has a feature that can sense when you're in bed to activate the Chilipad, which works, but then takes some time for the temperature to change, so I don't really use that one too often. Instead, my favorite mode, 95% of the time, is to just keep a preset sleep schedule active in the Chilipad app. So right now, I've got one I named Circadian Rhythm. This turns the Chilipad on at my desired bedtime, which I have set as 10 p.m., and for some people, that could be enough, but I've also been using Chilipad's pre-suggested temperature adjustments throughout the night. So it recommends letting it drop the temperature a few degrees about 30 minutes after bedtime, since like lowered body temperature is a trigger for deep sleep. And then about 4 hours into your sleep, when REM starts to pick up, Chilipad recommends increasing the temperature a few degrees to prevent sleep disturbances, since our bodies barely thermoregulate during REM. So this can prevent us from like waking up cold, which can happen. Now, I've been doing this for the past few months and it seems to be improving my sleep consistency and decreasing wake up times for me. So I'm gonna stick with it. But my favorite part is the programmed wake up time. This is something really, really unique in my opinion. So if this doesn't interest you, you could just have the Chilipad turn off at a certain time each morning, but what I do is actually have it start warming the bed up for me about 15 minutes before my set wake time. And this has been working way better for me than my alarm clock alone, because the problem with alarm clocks, I find, is that they can't take into account which sleep stage I'm in. So if it wakes me up at a non-ideal phase of sleep, I'm gonna get up cranky and tired or hit snooze 5 times. For me, this warm awake feature just feels like such a gentler and more natural way to wake up in the morning. I wake up feeling a little too warm. I'm like, all right, I'm hot and I want to get out of bed and just naturally want to start my day. So as far as wake up strategies go, I would probably put this particular feature in second place, with the only other like habit sleep tweak thing that would be better having something like an automatic window shade adjuster, whatever, something that like opens in the morning so you like the sun comes in when it's morning time. But if you can do both, you'll be waking up smoother than like 99% of the population. Plus, something no other Chilipad review has mentioned so far, part of my sleep hygiene optimization journey has been keeping my room pretty cold. So like 66 to 68 degrees. This just tends to help people sleep a lot better at night, myself included. But the downside to this isn't just the fact that I'm paying to keep my whole house cold while I'm only occupying one small space. It's also the fact that in the morning, now I have an even harder time getting out of my bed because the room is so damn cold. And that's why I love the sleep schedules on my Chilipad, because I'm saving money on air conditioning, first of all, and then I'm waking up more naturally, and it's easier to get out of the bed when the room itself isn't 66 degrees. So my recommendation is to just start with the regular scheduled sleep program that Chilipad already suggests. Just plug your bedtime and wake time in and toggle it on. Then once you've used it for a night or two, tweak the temperatures by a few degrees to experiment a bit and find what feels best for you. I wound up going like a degree or two warmer than what it recommended, and that's the sweet spot for me. Now, after a month of using Chilipad 2.0 every night, let's talk about what I love about it and what I definitely don't love about it. Then I'll let you know who should and shouldn't buy one. So, on the positive side, Chilipad 2.0 can definitely help you sleep cooler or warmer at night. The temperature range goes from an icy 55 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to 115 degrees, and I promise you're not gonna want it any colder or hotter than that. Before Chilipad, I'd usually sleep with my room somewhere between 66 to 68 degrees, but even 70 degrees on Chilipad is way too cold for me. Because you gotta remember, this is direct temperature as opposed to like ambient temperature. I find my sweet spot on Chilipad to be somewhere between 74 to 76. There is basically just a small learning curve, but you'll figure it out. I don't really use the warm side for sleeping at night, but it does feel like laying on a pile of fresh laundry that stays warm. So sometimes, just for maximum coziness, I like to set one side to cold and one side to warm and just roll around to whatever feels good for a while. I really love the remotes because they make it so easy for my girlfriend to control the temperature on her side of the bed without needing to bother me. And if you don't want to buy or use the physical remotes, you can also just invite your partner on the Chilipad app and you can each control your own side that way too. And speaking of partners, so far I've been impressed with the durability of the hydro layers. Without getting into too much detail, just know that I have definitely been rough on them. But seriously, 30 nights, 0 leaks, the seams and connection points still feel solid, and the cover's waterproof layer means that even if a leak did spring, my mattress would be protected. Also, the Chilipad 2.0 does come with a limited 2-year warranty covering defects in materials and workmanship across the whole system: dock, hydro layer, cover, and remote. It won't cover damage that you do to it, but you can individually replace each part as needed. So, not a perfect policy, but not too bad. But of course, my absolute favorite thing about the Chilipad 2.0 are those scheduled presets. It's a pretty low friction way that I've been able to improve my sleep, not just through sleep phase temperature optimization, but also by making it so much easier to get out of bed in the morning with the warm to wake feature. Especially since I no longer need to step out of my bed into a frigid 66 degree house. And that alone is the hidden benefit I didn't see coming, and no other reviewer has mentioned it so far. Everyone buys Chilipad to stop sweating at night, and it does help with that, but in my opinion, this is what actually makes Chilipad worth that hefty price tag for me personally. Plus, we get all this without any sort of monthly subscription needed, as is the case with some other brands like 8 Sleep. But of course, it's not all perfect. For the most part, I'd say the software gets the job done, but it still does feel a little clunky to me at times. Like, something that drives me crazy about the Chilipad app is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but even though I've got 2 pods assigned to the same bed on different sides, when I hit the power button on the app, it only actually turns one side on. Then I need to tap over to dock 2 to turn on the other. Now, I could be missing something here. I'm not a big instruction manual guy, but I'm 90% sure that this is an actual software limitation right now, which is just a really silly and annoying thing to me. Hopefully it's something they can easily add, fix, or adjust in the future. Fortunately, this does seem like the kind of thing they could easily fix with a software update, so I'm hoping that they do. But also, it's not the biggest deal in the world since I use this scheduled bedtime feature anyway, which handles all this crap automatically. It's also kind of annoying that between the pods and the remotes, they're gonna take up like 4 outlets worth of real estate, so most people are probably gonna wanna buy a power strip just for the Chilipad 2.0. The one redeeming fact about that is at least each remote does have an additional USB-C charging port on the back, so you can sort of use that as a nightstand charger for your phone. And other than that, like I said, the 2.0 does heat and cool a little bit slower than the original model, even though it is a straight upgrade in basically every other way, from size to noise and all that stuff. And another criticism I have is that the hydro layer can bunch up in places, so I do find myself needing to readjust it every 2 weeks or so. I tend to just take care of this whenever my sheets are in the wash. With all that said, let's talk about who should and shouldn't buy Chilipad 2.0. And if you do decide to buy one, I'll keep a link down in the description that I'll keep updated with the current best deal, plus a few of my other favorite sleep tech products from other reviews on the channel. So, honestly, here's what I think. I think the Chilipad 2.0 actually does a really good job at what it sets out to do. It's not perfect. The software can feel a little bit clunky at times, and the hydro layer can crease or shift over the course of a week or two. And even though it's subtle, it doesn't bother me. You can still sort of feel the shape of the hydro layer through the bed cover, which could be a legitimate grievance if you're a princess and the pea type of sleeper. And for water-based cooling systems like this, you will need to refill them with water and system cleaner every so often. Plus, Chilipad is legitimately expensive. So if any of those are deal breakers for you, you shouldn't buy Chilipad 2.0. But if you're looking to sleep cooler, warmer, or are somewhere in between with you and your partner arguing over the thermostat, this product will solve those problems. Now, it's not the only way to do this, and it's certainly not the cheapest, but from what I've experienced so far, you do get what you pay for, and it's a considerable upgrade from cheaper air-based bed cooling systems like BedJet. And it's still more affordable than 8 Sleep without requiring any sort of greedy dystopian subscription fees. So this is sort of the Goldilocks and the 3 Bears solution to waking up with night sweats. High quality, water-based cooling, not cheap, but no subscription. You should also consider buying Chilipad if you're even remotely interested in any sort of biohacking, optimizing your sleep hygiene, or just want to improve your circadian rhythm with a more regular sleep and wake time. Because for me, this was the hidden benefit no one told me about, and the reason I plan to keep my Chilipad 2.0. The warm to wake feature has essentially helped me boost productivity by becoming a little bit more of a morning person. But if you can't afford it right now, I don't want you to break the bank trying to. You could always start with just the 1 sleeper option, which is half the price. And if you decide you love it, you could always buy the other half for your partner later. Make it like a birthday present or something. Otherwise, like I said, there are cheaper options out there. They might not be quite as good, but I will link to some decent options down in the description in case it helps. Otherwise, if you've got a few more minutes to spend with me, I've tested a bunch of different mattresses, and this is the one I'm sleeping on currently. Give it a click to see my full review and see why I'm recommending it to my own family and friends.